Welcome to my channel. Okay, so today I have done my makeup really minimal for daytime. This is really, crazy hair. This is really the look that I do pretty much each day. I'm a mom of two and I normally have to get out of the house pretty quickly. I don't like a lot of makeup, especially during the day. If you're anything like me and you want to see how I achieved this, it's just a really basic look. It will take you 10 to 15 minutes, and if you want to see how I created this, then just keep watching. Okay, so firstly I'm starting off with a nice clean bare face, moisturized of course, and I'm going to prep my skin. I'm going to use my Stila BB cream. Love this because it is SPF 30, and if you're anything like me, you have freckles, which I do. I really like to make sure that I wear a really good sunscreen when I go out in the sun, whether it's sunny or not, doesn't really matter. And it's a really good base as well for my mineralized powder. Okay, so I'm going to use my Beauty Blender sponge, and it's slightly damp, and I'm going to just nice and gently bounce that on to my skin, and just making sure that it's nice and evenly dispersed. And always make sure that you get around your ears, down your jawline, blend it nicely into your neck. You really don't want your face and your neck to be a different color. And don't just stop around here, make sure that you bring it all the way back as well, especially if you're going to wear your hair up. It's always really good to consider that. And then up into your hairline. I'm going to put just a tiny bit on my eyelids because I'm going to use a really small amount of shadow, and that's just going to give a nice little base, something for it to adhere to. Okay, so just checking that it's all even. Okay, so after I've done that, I'm going to now use my mineralized powder. This is MAC and it's in medium plus. I really like mineralized powder because, as I said, this is just a really basic, oh, excuse my crazy hair, really basic daytime look. I don't really like to wear a lot of makeup. I'm not super big on foundations and anything that's full coverage. That's nice at nighttime, but during the day I just want to achieve the look of not really making too much of an effort. And I have kids, so whatever I can do just for a nice little pick-me-up before I get out of the house, because I'm normally kind of rushing to get out of the house and get the kids to school, basketball games, all that sort of stuff, grocery shopping, whatever it is. So just, it's really basic simply for that. Okay, so once I've done a nice light dusting of the powder, I'm going to, I know this is a little backward, but I apply my concealer after I've done my powder, simply because for me it gives me the best coverage. I'm going to go in with my Amazing Cosmetics concealer, and this is in Fair Golden. This is amazing. I have searched far and wide for a concealer that I love, and because I'm going back and forth from France to Orlando, I normally have to change up my concealers because when I'm over here in France, it's, you know, it's normally cold, and it's normally, we're here in the winter months, so I need something that's lighter. And then when I'm over there, my face tends to get a little more bronzed, or if I'm, you know, wearing a if I'm wearing a fake tan, obviously. But this, I don't know, it kind of just seems to blend in really well all the time. So I love it. Highly suggest trying this one out. Okay, so I'm just going to once again go in. I'm going to go in with the smaller pointy end of my blending sponge. And I'm just going to tap that in. I'm really gently I'm going to bring my concealer, as you can see, I've done it kind of in a V shape because I want to highlight this area on top of my cheekbones, because it's going to give just a really nice lightened effect, and it's just going to make everything look like it's pulled back really nicely. And also I'm going to get right in here because I have dark circles under my eyes due to my fabulous children, whom I love very much, of course, but with all the sleepless nights, I now have nice black bags under my eyes. So for me, concealer is a must. Alright, so as I said, I'm just going to make sure that it comes out here. I don't want to bring it low, I just want to bring it above my cheekbone, and I'm just drawing it out to my temples. Okay, so once that's all nicely blended, I'm just going to set that. I'm going to use my Ben Nye Banana Luxury Powder. I love this. I am in my 30s and I find that if I set concealer with any other sort of powder, it settles in those fine lines. And if you're, if you're in your late 20s, if you're in your 30s and you do have, those fine lines, then I think you need to really, really be mindful of that. So this is a really, really, really good option, I think, and it's just a really nice light coverage. You can actually use it all over your face, but because I already have a mineral powder on and I'm just going for just a really light coverage, I'm just going to pop that over my concealed areas. So that's on the blemishes around my nose and then under my eyes. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to a slight bit of contouring. Nothing exciting, but I'm going to use my MAC bronzing powder, and this is in matte bronze. And I'm just going to really, really basically show you how I contour, or the idea of how I do it anyway. Okay, so the whole idea of contouring is to deepen an area so that it recedes. Now, if I'm going to deepen underneath my cheekbones, then that's going to make that area recede, which in turn is going to make my cheekbones appear a lot higher, which is awesome. So the way that I do it is I go from the top point of my ear and I make sure that it runs down to the corner of my mouth. And as you can see, this is directly under my cheekbone. If I turn this way, it makes my cheekbone protrude. So I'm just going to light swirl. This is a foundation brush by Sephora. I don't know why I'm using a foundation brush. I tried to downscale on everything that I bought over here. I'm going to pinch my bristles because it just gives me a little more precision. Fish face is a must. The whole idea of the fish face thing is because it shows you exactly where your cheekbone ends. So I'm just going to follow that line. Excuse me, I'm looking in my bathroom mirror because it's kind of hard to look into the camera and do it. Okay, so once I have that on, I'm just going to really lightly build it up. And I'm just doing a little back and forth and a little swirling motion. Make sure that you bring it right up into your ear. And then the next one. Okay. And blending that nicely. I like to kind of create a line to begin just because it shows me where I need to work, but then I just want to make sure that it's completely blended out so it looks nice and natural. Okay, so once that is done, I'm going to just put a little around my hairline. I'm going to close my window because it's a really, really weird light coming in. Okay, that's better. A little around my hairline, just so that I don't look like a pale ghost. And I'm just going to bring it just to the tail of my eyebrows. Because remember, I bought the concealer up here and my idea is to keep this area nice and highlighted. Okay, and then I'm going to use a little along my jawline. This is a really good trick if you have double chin. It just gives you a little more of a stronger jawline. So I'm going to make sure that I blend that in really nicely because I don't want to turn sideways and have a line here. Sorry, I know that doesn't look very cute, but just to make sure that it's blended. Okay, I'm going to bring that down my neck also. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and apply my blush. This is a Stila blush, and it's in Heat, and it's number 3. I don't know if they make this anymore, actually. I've had this for a really, really long time. Love it for fall, for winter, because it's kind of a nice little plummy color. There's no highlight, it's very matte, and I really, really like this for that simple reason. I don't really like a lot of shimmer in my blush. I like it in my highlighter, which I'll apply separately, but not in my blush. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it on top of where I've put my bronzer, and I'm just going to really, really just sort of gently blend that in. I want it to sort of blend in to my bronzer, so you can't see any kind of lines or anything where the connection is. A lot of people tend to smile when they're putting on their blush to find the apple of their cheeks. I don't really like to put it on the apple because I feel like the apple is kind of here, and when you smile it raises, and then when you stop smiling it drops, so it doesn't really give you a very accurate placement. If it works for you, great. For me, I just prefer to place it just on top of where I've put that bronzer, and I just bring it up my cheekbone, just slightly into my hairline, just so once again you can't see where anything's connected. And I just use a little bit of a circular swirling motion here, and I'm just gently building that color up also, so I don't get too much at once. Now, if you're anything like me, my skin is kind of sensitive, so as I'm putting it on, my skin is going to redden just because I'm brushing over my face constantly. So I tend to put a little bit more on because I know that when my skin relaxes, you're not really going to see a lot of blush. Okay, sorry, I know I keep on moving my camera around. I just feel like it's like really making my face look weird. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with my highlighter. Oops, can you see it? Love this. This is Maui, and this is Effortless Airbrush highlighter. I really like this because it's just a fantastic color. It doesn't have any shimmer in it. I'm not a big fan of, sparkly, shimmery highlighters. I think that at my age, it's not a very good idea to kind of go with too much glittery, sparkly, shimmery stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to use my finger. You can use whatever you want to use to place this on. I'm just putting it I'm sort of layering. So I've gone bronze, I've gone blush, and now I'm just going to do a little highlight up here. And when the sunlight hits, it just gives a really nice highlight. No glitteriness, as I said, but just a really, really nice subtle highlight. And then I just kind of like bring it up underneath my brow ever so slightly, and then I just make sure that with this I just kind of want to blend it nicely. I pop a little bit on my inner corner because it kind of just gives that awakening effect, and that's done. So after I've done that, I'm just going to go in with this is just a nice fluffy brush actually, and I'm just going to make sure that I just blend it all in. Once again, I want this to be really, really natural, so I don't want to have anything that connects, I don't want to have any lines, I don't want to have anything harsh, just really, really gentle. Okay, so now I do my brows, and for me this is the most important thing in the world. I'm completely and utterly obsessed with eyebrows, so I just broke my eyebrow pencil. That's not great. Alright. At the moment, my very favourite is this Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pencil. It's kind of like a crayon actually, rather than a pencil. And this is in Brunette. I really like this. I'm sorry, this is going to be weird because I'm going to get really close so that I can see in my mirror. Okay, so I'm going to do a brow tutorial later on my channel, so I'm just going to do this really without a whole lot of explanation, just for the sake of getting it done quickly. But just really quickly, if you think of where your brows should be for your face shape, the best place is to begin is to put your pencil or something as a guideline by the side of your nose, okay? And you want to begin, oh, I totally just drew on my face, that's smart. You want to begin your brow here, okay? You don't want anything to come before that, and you don't want anything to start after it, because that's not going to be very natural for your face shape. And then for your highest point of your arch, you go on the outside of your pupil. Sorry, I know I'm looking in the mirror, so it's kind of weird. And that's where the highest point of your arch should be. And then where the tail should end is from your nose, the outside of your eye, and this is exactly where it should end. Anything else you can kind of sketch in. I know that they do have a lot of stencils and things like that. I'm not one to use those, but you can definitely use those if you need some sort of guideline. Okay, so I'm just using nice little feathery strokes because I want it to be really natural. And I'm going to go ahead on the other side and do the exact same thing. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to once again use my Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is a powder. This is really cute. I like this a lot. It comes in 2 different colors and it is in caramel. And I'm just going to go ahead and take my eyebrow brush, and I just kind of mix them together a little bit just because I think it's a little bit more of a natural effect. So now I'm done with those. I am going to use my all-time favorite and it's also going to blend out where I put that pencil as well. Benefits so that you can't see. Love this. I have gone through so many. I'm almost done with this one as well. I've gone through so many of them. If I don't really have any time to do my brows, I always just run a slick of this over because it puts them in place. And if you're anything like me and you kind of have, mine are weird, mine kind of like stick up off my head a little bit. It's strange, but it tames them. It's also really good if you do any powder on top too, because you don't want that kind of like that powdery look, so it just sets them in place and it takes away that powdery look. Alright, so nextly I'm going to move on to my lashes. And firstly, I'm going to highlight my upper waterline. I do this because it gives the effect of nice full lashes, and that's the look that I really like. So I just try and keep it as close to the lashes as possible. I don't want to bring it all the way across my waterline, because if I do that, I feel like when I close my eyes, it sits on the bottom as well. And I don't want anything on my bottom waterline. So I'm just going to do that gently. Alright, now I'm going to really quickly just apply a tiny bit of, sorry, this is my MAC and this is in soft brown. Yeah, this is just matte and I'm just using a tiny bit on the crease of my eye. I have slightly hooded eyes, so I like to do this step because it just gives a little bit of definition, a little bit of depth there. And so I'm just using it just ever so slightly above my crease, and I'm actually just sweeping it all the way from the corner right here, and I'm bringing it all the way in because I really do want to create that illusion of a bit of a crease where there's not really one. Okay, after I've placed a tiny bit of that, I'm going to go in with just a blender brush. This is an angled blender brush and it doesn't have a name on it. I really don't know where this came from, but it's nice and soft, the bristles are. So I'm just going to blend that. Okay, Then after I've done that, I'm going to just do my eyelashes. A little trick, I know this is probably not what people recommend, but I love doing this. Little trick, I just like to heat up my eyelash curler. It's kind of like when you do your hair, you put it in rollers or you use a straightener or a curler or whatever. It sets it. So really importantly, after you've done that, just check it and make sure it's not super hot. And then I'm going to go right down to the base of where my lashes begin. I'm going to curl that. I'm going to hold it for a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to come up to the middle of my lash and just give that a little curl too, because I don't want them to go straight up. I want them to have a nice little curl. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my mascara, and I really like this. This is Smashbox, and this is Photo Op Eye Brightening, and it's illuminating mascara. I'm not really sure what that means, however, love it. I got this from Sephora because I had points. It was a freebie and it's only really small, but I'm going to go back and search for the big one because I really like it. Alright, so when I'm doing my mascara, as you can see, I'm placing my wand right at the base of my lashes and I'm just going to wiggle. This is where I want to place the majority of my mascara because it's going to give that build up and it's going to make it look like my lashes are really long and really thick. And as you can see, once I start to apply that, that's exactly what happens. Now I'm just going to run it through the ends. I really don't like the look of clumpy lashes. If you do, then that's perfectly fine, each to their own. For me personally, don't love it. So I'm just going to make sure that I have the majority of the application, as I said, at the base. And then I'm just going to go through a couple of times. Just make sure that I'm fanning out my lashes. I like to bring these ones out to the side, these ones up here, and the inner toward my nose because it, as I said, it fans the lashes out and it gives the appearance of more lashes. And then I'm going to do the same thing ever so slightly on the bottom. Not like a lot on the bottom. You can skip this if you don't like to wear mascara on the bottom. Totally up to you, but my lashes are kind of long, so if I don't put anything on the bottom, they look a little strange. Okay, so second side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry and then I'm just going to recurl them again just to really set them in place. In the meantime, I'm going to go in with my favorite lipstick, and this is MAC and it is Pure Zen. It's one of their Cremecheens. Really like it because it does just have a nice, almost kind of lip gloss finish to it. It's such a pretty natural peachy colour. I like it. It looks kind of just like I have a gloss on. It actually has pretty good staying powder too. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go in, this is so old, but this is my favourite and I can never find it anywhere. This is my Yves Saint Laurent and it is a shiny lip plumper. Doesn't really plump a lot, but whatever. I got it for the colour, and it's SPF 10 as well. And this is, I think it's even rubbed off. I don't even know what number it is, to tell the honest truth, unfortunately. So I'm going to undo it and then pop a little bit of this, mostly on the center. I just want a little bit of shine on the center of my lip and to give the illusion of a little bit of plumpness here too. Okay, so now that's done, I'm gonna once again my lash curler hot? It's a little hot. And I'm gonna call this again. For me, if I'm really not wearing a lot of makeup, I like my lashes to be really, really nicely defined. It's kind of the most important thing for me when I'm going for a bare look. And I call my lashes so much because my lashes are really long, but they're really straight. It's so bizarre. Other side, exact same thing. Okay, and now I'm done. So very, very gently, a little bit of bronzer, a little bit of blush on top of that, slightly highlighted, sorry. Nice nude lip, nice and peachy. My brows are done, my lashes are done, and now I'm ready for the day. I hope you enjoy this look. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, that would be fantastic. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you have any suggestions, if there's anything that you would like to have me do, then go ahead and write a comment for me and I will put a list of all the products that I used. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.